From dust to consciousness is a phrase that echoes the deepest questions humanity has ever asked: where do we come from, what are we made of, and how does the intangible essence we call the soul arise? In the silent void before birth, and the silent void after death, what is this spark that animates flesh, that kindles thought and feeling, that carries identity and mystery beyond the tangible? Is the soul a byproduct of matter, a complex arrangement of cells and molecules that, through staggering complexity, generates self-awareness? Or does it come from a realm utterly beyond the physical, an eternal essence that temporarily inhabits a material vessel, the scientific worldview, grounded in empirical observation? Traces life's origins to the primordial dust, cosmic elements forged in the hearts of stars, scattered across the universe, eventually coalescing into planets, organisms, and ultimately, beings capable of reflecting upon themselves. From this perspective, consciousness emerges as an epiphenomenon, neurons firing, synapses strengthening, networks of electrochemical pulses creating the illusion of self. The soul, in this view, is a poetic metaphor for the complexity of matter in motion, an emergent property of the brain's intricate architecture. Nothing more, nothing less, yet this explanation, while elegant and increasingly sophisticated, leaves a vast emptiness at its center. How does subjective experience arise from objective processes? Why should matter, arranged just so, suddenly begin to feel joy, sorrow, or a sense of wonder? Why is there something it is like to be alive at all? These are the questions that have long troubled philosophers, mystics, and scientists alike. They point to what has been called the hard problem of consciousness, the puzzle of how physical processes translate into inner experience. Ancient wisdom traditions often posit a different origin story. The soul is not born from dust, but descends into it, or perhaps it ascends from a realm of pure consciousness beyond time and space. In Hindu thought, Atman is the eternal self, untouched by birth and death, temporarily clothed in physical form. Similarly, in many indigenous cosmologies, life is a cycle of spirits moving through forms, a continual dance between material and immaterial. These perspectives suggest that matter is the stage, but not the playwright, the body is the vessel, but not the origin of the soul. In modern spiritual and metaphysical circles, a synthesis sometimes emerges. Some propose that consciousness is fundamental, existing prior to and underlying matter itself, and that what we perceive as physical reality arises from consciousness, rather than the reverse. This flips the scientific narrative on its head, suggesting that dust is animated by soul, not the other way around. The universe becomes a vast, living organism, with consciousness as its heartbeat. And individual souls as fractal expressions of this greater whole. Interestingly, this idea finds resonance in cutting-edge physics and cosmology. The strange behavior of quantum particles, entanglement, superposition, non-locality, implies that the fundamental fabric of reality may be less stuff and more information or awareness. The observer effect in quantum mechanics hints that consciousness may play a role in shaping the very world it perceives, suggesting a deep interconnection between mind and matter. Could the soul then be understood as a quantum phenomenon, a pattern of information or energy that bridges the immaterial and the physical? Yet despite these enticing hints, the question remains profoundly mysterious. If souls are born from matter, how do they survive death, the dissolution of their biological home? If they exist beyond matter, how do they enter into it at birth? These thresholds, the crossings between life and death, spirit and flesh, are liminal spaces where certainty dissolves and paradox rules. Near-death experiences, accounts of past life memories, and other phenomena offer glimpses that the soul's journey transcends the purely material, yet none can be conclusively proven or disproven. Philosophically, the question touches on the nature of identity itself. Is the soul a fixed entity, a timeless self distinct from the body? Or is it an evolving process, shaped by experience and environment, inseparable from the material world it inhabits? Some argue that the soul is more akin to a river than a stone, a flowing current of consciousness that takes form in bodies and thoughts, yet never ceases to move and change. Poets and mystics have long described the soul as both dust and starfire, born from the earth, yet reaching for the heavens. It is the meeting point of the finite and the infinite, the visible and the invisible. Perhaps the truth lies not in choosing between matter and spirit, but in embracing their mystery as two sides of a single coin, forever entwined. In this embrace, the journey from dust to consciousness becomes not a puzzle to solve but a mystery to live. Each heartbeat, each breath, each moment of awareness is a step along the path where matter and soul dance, where the tangible and the transcendent entwine. Whether the soul is born from dust or beyond it, its existence invites us into wonder, into awe at the miracle of being, a miracle that refuses to be fully explained, a flame that lights the shadowy corridors of existence, calling us home to ourselves.